Hi, guys, and welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I'm the Executive Director of the National Street Food Vendors Association, which is a nonprofit dedicated to education, advocacy, and uplifting all food vendors. Today, I'm speaking with Warren Nash. He's the co-founder of Easy Eats, which is a POS system that I highly recommend. We're going to go all through how Easy Eats works and show you how easy it is to use their POS system. So let's go ahead and jump right into that interview.
Happy to do introductions here. My name is Warren Nash. I'm one of the co-founders of Easy Eats. Easy Eats is a food truck focused point of sale, KDS, and online ordering system. Small business. Myself and a couple of my friends a few years ago started Easy Eats with the purpose of supplying a system to food trucks that balances the cost as well as the feature set necessary for food trucks. So yeah, today happy to walk through its features, kind of the improvements we've done over the last little while, costs, anything else. I also have a connection to my tablet, which has the app installed on it, so I can kind of walk through how the point of sale looks, how the KDS looks, online ordering webpage, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that sounds awesome. So right now, the page that everybody can see is your landing page. So if they look up Easy Eats, is it .com? Yes.
Yep, yep,
Look up
easy.
easyeats.com and this is what they'll see.
Yep, you got it.
Okay, so if they're interested in learning more about you, what should they do next once they get to this point?
The best thing and what most people do is they create a demo account because you click that button, it takes you down here. It basically sets up a test food truck account for you to play around with. I'm not going to bug you or chase you down or anything. There's no commitments. You basically just get to play with the system and do test orders. Like it would become your real account if you decided to use the system, but it is a demo. So you can download our app, create menus, do test orders through the system, and even get it to text you saying that your order is ready. All of the features, check inventory, tracking, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what most people do because it's low impact. It lets you play with it on your terms. Of course, we have a support number. I'll walk you through, or my team will walk you through any questions you have. But people like to play with stuff themselves, so this is the best way to go about that.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about what you guys do. I, as you know, I get people wanting me to test their POS systems all the time. And the first thing I do is what we're doing right now. I look at their landing page. What is just the general person going to see when they land? And I can't stand to see something that says, I want you to click here and we'll give you a callback or a demonstration. Like, no, I want to play with it. I want to know what the features are. Then once I see what the features are, I'll decide if you're worth my time. Because if they want you to talk to a salesperson first,
Mm.
that means they got to sell you on the product.
Yeah. And yeah, I definitely want to touch on that because that's one of the core things we've always like kind of a core ethos built into our company culture. If you want to over corporatize it,
Mhm.
there is that we want to be we're cost effective, so we can compete with Square and any of those guys, and therefore we can show you our prices right on our website. You can click on the pricing page, it's right there,
Right.
and you can see all the details and all the options we support and the different credit card processors, and you don't have to be sold on it because we're not trying to charge you 4.5% credit card processing rates or anything silly. Our hardware tends to be off the shelf and relatively cheap and easy to replace. It's very modular. You can add on to it and everything's pretty straightforward. So we want to keep it that way because it is a meshes with how we want to interact with our customers, how we would want to be treated, all that kind of stuff. And since we are a small business and we're able to make this cost effective, we can do that. So
Again, that's what I love about you guys. You are very responsive to any kind of input that you get. Okay, so somebody creates the
yep.
demo account. Then what happens? Take us there.
Yep. So once they create an account, it will take them to a manage page. And let me see here. Some of this you can see and some of it you probably shouldn't, but we'll see. It takes you to, you won't see any of that. And this is already all filled out. So I got to actually go to it manually. Where's the initial setup? Setup checklist. So I had to do all that manually, but you would actually be taken to this setup checklist. It's
Yeah.
blinking and it's up here, and it basically walks you through create a menu, do an online order, serve it on the KDS, download our app. So you basically do this stuff. And then if you wanted to go further, you would click these buttons to say, I want to use the system, choose a credit card processor, etc. But you basically just do the first few things. I have a video over here too that walks you through all the credit card processing options, because that's one unique feature about us is most point of sale systems, it's a combination of the point of sale system and the merchant servicer.
Yes.
So think Square. They're our main competitor, so we benchmark everything we can against them. They are point of sale and they do their own merchant servicing. And technically behind the scenes, there's other people doing stuff, but they have one offering. We break that out into three different core credit card processors. And we do that because different ones have different price points that make sense for different food trucks. So, every market has different stratifications to it. And especially in food trucks too, you have a full-time year-round professional person that's doing $500,000 a year in sales, and they have a certain set of needs. And you have maybe more of a hobbyist, or maybe not hobbyist, that might not be the right term, but a seasonal person that they're doing $50,000 2 months over the summer at a couple county fairs.
Right.
And they have a different set of needs. So we have three different credit card processors that meet those different needs, at different price points, different credit card readers, all that kind of stuff. And one nice thing is it helps us make sure that those credit card processors are always giving our customers the best deal, because when you're not beholden to just one, they can't push through some new fee or something like that happens to other systems sometimes. So
Absolutely. That's another thing that I always liked about you from the very beginning is you always had choices. Working for the big corporations that I have in the past, a lot of people don't realize, because it's become so commonplace, like you mentioned, that the POS and the credit card processing are so well integrated that you can't separate them out. You can, but most of them can't.
yeah,
20 years ago, everything was separated. So we bought a POS system strictly based on what it can do for us and what it can track and what it can't do. And then we went out and got the credit card processing ourselves. So in some ways, it's made it easier.
Mhm.
In other ways, it's made it less competitive because, like you said, Square, it's all integrated together. You can't choose a different credit card processor if you're using the Square POS system. You are locked into Square.
yeah, yeah.
I believe Toast is the same way. You're locked into their credit card
Right.
processing.
Or Clover, it all through
Mhm.
the back end, it's going through Pfizer's network, et cetera. So, and
Exactly.
one, it wasn't an intentional from the beginning reason why we built it that way, but one happy accident is that when you have multiple set up, we recommend you have a primary one. You pick one of the three, and then one of those three also serves as a decent backup. So if you are in a situation where, well, some state actor is being a little extra techno or a little bit more hacky this week or whatever it is, and some network is having an issue, Pfizer's having an issue, or Cardpoint, whoever, you can quickly switch to your backup without having to change your point of sale system. Normally, your point of sale system goes down, your cash and paper tickets, handwritten tickets for the rest of the day.
Yep.
In our case, as long as you set it up beforehand, of course, you could just come into this page, payment and banking, and you just click the other one. And within 30 seconds, that other one's going to start working. And again, the preference, so you have to have it set up beforehand. It's not something you can do, oh, shoot, it's down. Now what do I do?
Right.
But that's a small secondary bonus feature that, hopefully comes up very rarely, but it is a feature that you have. You can switch to your backup quickly. It's still integrated. The KDSs all work. The online ordering all works. It's just the piping connection. Our system, instead of talking to the one merchant servicer, just gets quickly redirected to the other one.
And that's another big benefit. I mean, Square goes down with just enough regularity that it becomes annoying.
Yeah.
If you're on Square's ecosystem and it's down,
Yeah.
you can't process credit card, which is one problem, but you also have lost potentially your KDS, your POS system,
Yeah.
and you're on paper tickets, like you said. So
Yeah.
this is another really neat feature that we hope no one ever needs,
Yeah.
but it's a good thing to have it there.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so somebody has gone in and they're just doing the demo. So let's get them through the demo. They're going to set up just that very top section there.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what happens once all that's set up? What are they doing?
So from there, you've created a menu item. You can create a bunch. You can create a couple. You basically then download our app, and I'll switch over to that view here
Okay.
now. This is a screen mirror of my tablet. So I have my point of sale currently plugged into my computer, and it's just showing that here up on the
Mhm.
screen. And this is the starting page. Well, once you're logged in, the starting page of the Easy Eats app.
Yep.
And it's got, a couple main sections: cash register, open and close status, and a backup order queue. Our KDS, that's what the KDS is. Our KDS is web-based, so you don't need the app, you don't need this tablet for it. Literally anything with a web browser just goes to our website, log in, you have the KDS. So you could have one KDS or five, no extra cost, no extra tracking, Square charges per device per
Mhm.
month. You can have as many as you want, and it can be on anything. You've accidentally dropped your KDS in the fry oil and fried it. Well, just whip out your phone and you can use that. It's not going to be as good, but it'll get you through the service until you can figure out a solution. All that
Absolutely.
said, we have it in the app as well, so you can click on it, and I'll explain more of this in a minute. We'll come back to this in a minute. Again, this is the web page, and
Right.
normally you would have this vertically, not horizontally. But to your point, the version of it in the app, it looks like it's in the app, but all it's doing is pulling the website. So it looks
Right.
exactly the same, just on a different screen. It's not a, most of the app is like native, like we've built out code within the app to do something within the app. That one piece, it actually just goes to the website. And we'll come back to this. It'll make a lot more sense in a minute. And then try to picture this, how my background picture is behind my head. In a truck, you'd actually have it vertically, not horizontally. And the reason for that is you fit a lot more orders, and you're basically working from the top down. So just keep that in mind for a minute. But anyways, back to your earlier question. So they've created a account and they want to test it out. So then they'd go to the cash register. Now I have a bunch of items in here that are already made because it's my
Mhm.
demo, of course. You'd have
Yep.
one or two or three, whatever. But you basically, here's the menu items. We have pictures. We highly, highly encourage you load pictures for two reasons. One, that's the picture people will see online. All of our systems include online ordering. You do have some toggles and switches, so you can show some stuff online and not on the point of sale, and vice versa. But generally speaking, what you see on here is what you would see on there, just a little bit different format. It also helps with your cashier, like you want them to know your menu, but picture of cheeseburger helps them push the button when they're learning,
Yes.
even more than just the cheeseburger, name. So within here, we have menu items. We also have combos. I'm going to avoid the combos for now. Those are more complicated. They're great if you truly need them. Most people don't. You can get by with modifiers and the such. But so let's try maybe space tacos. So I want to add space tacos. Click on it, and then you can select your modifiers. And these, of course, pre-set up in the system. I want beef, upsell, an extra buck, add some extra cheese, and let's say, let's throw in some notes here. No tomatoes. I'll misspell it because, oh, yeah, there we go. Compensate.
There you go.
Okay, then add to order, throws it over on the right-hand side. And
Yep.
then, of course, you just add more stuff to it as you go. Let's throw a soda in there. Let's do Dr. Pepper. Then we go to checkout. And then this is where you'd enter like a phone number or name. Both are optional. You can finagle it. If your cashier keeps forgetting, you can make it required in the settings, so they have to enter something, etc. But this is where you'd enter the information. So I'll just throw in our business number here. And then you could put in a name. And then then you're choosing cash or card. You can do, we're not a huge fan of it. We think you should generally have the same price for cash versus credit card, but it is a trend now to do cash discount programs and things like that. So our system does allow you to do it, though we generally recommend, for your own benefit, and I know Bill agrees with this, and we came to that agreement separately, it wasn't coordinated, that generally it's best to have the same price for everyone. It's confusing if you don't. People are more unhappy when they have to pay a surcharge, 3% for credit card or whatever, than you hear. I'll talk to people all the time and they'll say, well, no one complains. People don't complain that often. Most people don't complain. If one person complains, 10x that number are unhappy. And oh, yes, the gas station down the street does the same thing, but major retailers don't. So best advice is build it into your pricing, but we do support it if you want to do a cash discount. When you would see the different totals here, cash is 3% less or 4% or whatever you have it set at. But for now, I'll just hit cash, and I'll just hit exact. And then boom, order created. And then that goes over the KDS. And then let me go over here. So this is the KDS, again, web view. Again, pretend it's squished and tall, squished
Right.
down this way and taller this way. But I'll try to explain it. Oh, and actually, let me show you one thing. Before I show you this, this is the order you just saw it: space tacos, beef, extra cheese, tomatoes, Dr. Pepper. One other thing we have that I think is still very, very unique is this on deck. And this is a live view of what's in the tablet. So I just added a corn on the cob to the tablet, and you see, hey, corn on the cob. So this is telling you basically the cashier is taking an order. The customer has not paid for it yet. It could change, but this was a huge ask for people, and we figured out how to do it a while ago because it gives you an extra 60 seconds to get stuff going in the deep fryer, and
Yep.
that can be huge. When you're 5 orders or 6 orders deep, you don't care, and that's why we have it at the bottom because it'll get pushed down and you won't see it once you're 5 or 6 orders deep. But especially when you only have a couple, you want to get it going. So instead of having to look over your cashier's shoulder or like, hey, what are they ordering? You can see because this is a live view of the tablet.
And it'll also give you the total of everything. Oh, that's the other side, the summary. Yeah.
Correct, correct, correct. Yeah, so we haven't got to that. So let me do a couple. I'm going to put a couple orders in here too, and we'll talk about
Okay.
that.
That'll work.
Let's do a couple of those, and let's do some chili fries for. Skip the phone number for that one, Mike. Just say that. There we go.
Put a drink on that one too.
Ah, shoot, I already hit the button. All right, let's do a
Okay.
couple
Do
of
one more.
those.
Do one with a Dr. Pepper.
Yep, let's do
'Cause
that.
that's what we need them to see is the,
Aggregation. Yep, yep,
yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay. There we go.
So then to what Bill was mentioning is the value of technology over classic paper tickets is it can do the aggregation for you. Not only can it do inventory tracking like live as well as auto online disabling. In this context, it's taking all your orders, all the quantities, and telling you in total you have 3 chili fries, you have 4 corn on the cob, you have 2 pops, etc. Or a more useful thing for that would be fries, cheese curds, stuff you need to drop in the deep fryer to keep them going. So this will give you that aggregated total.
And another thing you pointed out, or inadvertently pointed out, you were scrolling the screen, but
Yeah.
still all the totals were there.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. This will keep going down. You'll see all of it. You have to scroll, but the total, even if you're really slammed, you're doing a county fair and you're still working on your operational efficiencies, and you're 20 orders deep, this will show all of them, even though you can only see the first. Um, on a tablet, you'll see the first about 4 to 5. On the big touch screen, we recommend you'll see 6 or 7, something like that, depending on the items they have, etc. Without having to scroll. But yeah, so this then you work top down, and you can, if you have a big order, these are relatively small orders, you might not care, but you can click on an item. So you click on an item, marks it out, and it'll take it out of the total too. And that lets you know that, hey, you're halfway done with the order, but you haven't served it yet. Then when you hit ready, I got a text message just popped up. I see it on my phone saying, hey, Warren, thanks for ordering from, my Easy Eats demo truck here. Please come grab your food. Here's your order number. Just tell the cashier. And in this mode, this is our 2-step mode where you push that button and then customer comes, grabs the food, and then you push it here again. So you know it's fully gone. You don't have to have it 2-step. You can have it where you just push it once and it's going to move over here, and you just assume they come eventually. And you don't have to push the button again to save you a button press. Some trucks really like to be able to, like, I know it's out. This one's gone. It's off of the list. We're clear. And other ones are like, I don't want the extra button press. Stuff starts piling up on my countertop, I'll deal with it. So that's just a toggleable feature. So basically, that's the core of the demo. I mean, you can see everything. I can show you some more stuff, the inventory tracking and the online ordering piece. Let me show you that real quick.
Okay.
But most of what people want to see, I mean, everything revolves around what you just saw and the complexity of how you build it out in your menu. And you'll spend some time there. But to actually test the system, make 2 or 3 menu items, you can be doing some orders, get the text message on your phone, and 30 minutes to an hour after you started playing with it, you'd see the core of the system.
Mhm.
And then of course you could add on, more stuff later. But that's the highest level there. Let me go to the here, the online ordering page.
Okay. Before we start talking about that,
Yeah.
on the KDS,
Yeah.
you can have multiple KDSs.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct. So
So,
yeah, go ahead.
for example, the one that says the Dr. Pepper,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to actually go to this screen, does it not?
Correct. So I don't have it enabled on this test truck here, but there's two things. There's a set of queues here that will handle your pre-orders and delivery. So you can see upcoming pre-orders. Pre-orders will filter into this. You know,
Hmm.
you have an event next week, people order today for it.
Right.
It will filter into this main queue when you want it to, 10 minutes before it's due, et cetera. But there's another set of options that'll pop up where you have it enabled when you have it enabled called stations. And that's where you're going to have one main station that will always show everything, but you could have another tablet, another touchscreen, whatever, another KDS that's set to station one or station two, and those will only show the items you care about. So the deep fry station could just be set to the 5 items in your truck that need to be dropped in the deep fryer, and they're just working off that list. Exactly. Yeah, and that's a newer ad we've done more recently. It's still probably 9 months ago or something, but
Right.
very useful for the busiest of trucks. I would say, I don't know, population distribution. Let's just make up some numbers. Probably 70% of food trucks are going to operate on like one screen because they're good with that. But once you get towards the bright side of the distribution, I got some trucks with 2 to 3 queues, and they'll be using the stations, and they need it because you're pushing volume, and those are the ones that are doing good numbers because you need the stations at that point to be
Absolutely.
efficient and be able to push an order every minute or 45 seconds or something like that. So
Now, where it would make a lot of sense just on the information you've got up there right now. So let's assume the chili fries would go to a fry station. So they would have their own tablet. They would know. They wouldn't need to see the corn on the cob.
mhm.
That's why you would segregate those out. And the same with that soda. Nobody that's cooking needs to see the soda. Only the person that's handing the order out needs to see it.
Yeah,
So that's why you would have different KDS screens. And would
yeah,
also reduce the clutter, because technically what's set up here, that one with the chili cheese fry, that would probably be the only one on his KDS or her KDS. And so it
exactly.
makes you feel a little bit less stressed because you don't see a myriad of orders. You only see the one little thing you got to handle.
Exactly, 100%. And then, like you said, the expediter or the person handing out the food at the very end,
They
they'll
need
have
it
the
all.
full screen. Okay, they got the order for Bill, and okay, well, station one checked off this, and station two checked off this, and I'm grabbing the pop and throwing it in the bag, hit ready, boom, it's out.
Okay, so the next thing you're going to show is
Let's see here. Let's look through a couple of other items as well. Oh yeah, yeah.
we
Let's
had
look
the
at
online ordering.
yeah, 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 yeah.
There we go.
Bouncing around here. Okay, so this actually looks even better on your phone. So feel free to play around with it. So you create a demo account, load up your web page. So on our website, everyone by default gets a web page, and that web page will have a specific URL that you will set. Usually, you want to do something on brand. I had GI Joe's food truck was a food truck of a buddy of mine. So he'd do something like easyeats.com/GI, or just I think he might just had Joe's. And that becomes your URL. And then our system will automatically take that URL and create a QR code for you. And that QR code is what you'll throw on your menus and the side of your truck and whatever. And people can just scan that with their phone and order directly that way. And then, of course, you can also send the link to the organizer of the event that you're going to next week, and they want to provide it to everybody. And then it looks very, very similar. And I won't go through the whole process here because I don't have it in the mode to actually do that, but it's going to be this. Well, here, let me open the truck first. So one of the other things is every day you either have an event set up with all your taxes set, your location set, all that fun stuff, or you just open for the day, or technically you don't even have to, but generally you would want to because that's how you set your tax rates. So you set your location, detect it automatically, set it manually, whatever you need to do, type in the address, toggle on and off your taxes as needed. You can add an automated post to Facebook. So we'll plug into Facebook and by extension, Instagram, I believe. And you can even load custom images. So it'll as soon as you hit open, it'll open your food truck, and that lets you take online ordering and sets everything, but it'll also post to Facebook and do some of your marketing, at least a little bit of it for you. It's asking me to do that. So I'm going to say open anyways. Okay. All right. So let's go back to, let's send this one up to KDS, and let's send this one over here. Okay. Let's refresh. Hey, now we're open. And yes, I know it wants to meet it. Okay. Okay, so now customer would go through here and, I want the space tacos and I want the chicken and I want the extra whatever. And it's just like the point of sale, at least, the layout's a little bit different, but it's the same behind the scenes. So then you'd add to cart and then they'd go through the checkout process. We want them to create an account, but it's also guest checkout because people don't always want to create an account. But we do ask for the phone number because at the end of it, for both in person, which you saw because I showed it already, and online, we want them to be texted. And that helps with they can walk away for a minute, come back and get their food. And then online, we also have an order tracker. So this is the order tracker. Again, it looks a little better on a phone because that's what it's designed for. And it's going to tell you that you're preparing the food and it's live. There's 2 orders ahead of yours. And we do that this way for a specific reason. You don't want to give time estimates because you're always going to be wrong and you will not get credit for being under and you will always get dinged for being over. So we give a number because this is reassuring to the purchaser that, hey, you got the order and it's being made, but they're not going to get hung up on, well, you said it was 10 minutes. It's going to be 10 minutes. Okay, well, it's going to be 17 and a half minutes, but whatever.
Does that count down? Will it say
Yes.
one order? It will.
Yeah. So let me show you. So, so this is back to the KDS. These are the 2 that are ahead. And this is the one I just did online. And it's a different color. So, it's an online one and pre-orders would be a different color still. But, so let's hit ready and boom, update. There's one ahead of you. And then
that's neat.
Your order is next. There you go. And then once I even hit serve, of course, I'm going to get the text that says, hey, Warren, your food's ready. But it'll also tell me here that I think it changes color. Yeah, it does. Order ready for pickup. So extra win. So online, they get, when someone orders online, they get more than enough communication for them to not come and bug you. So they know that the order's been received and they're not going to be walking up to the cashier being like, hey, been 15 minutes. I ordered online, not sure if it went through. We over communicate to ensure that doesn't happen because you want to use online ordering, mobile ordering to cut down on how much interaction you have to have per order. And that kind of defeats the purpose if they're coming up and asking you status. So we learned that very early, many years ago.
I just love the system. And that would actually work for somebody that maybe doesn't have a cashier that works solo. They could just have them scan the QR code and
100%. We have a couple that do different things. We have one guy, he's in Texas, and he's by himself in his truck. He pulls up to, I don't know what it is, like a UPS or a FedEx sorting facility, something like that, every Thursday, Friday, something like that. He's all by himself. So he's doing all the cooking and he does everything he can to get people to order online, and a good portion do. And then a few people will still walk up and he'll just do it real quick there and fire it off. Other people will go even more like, no, you have to order online. So do it that way. And some will even turn the point of sale interface is very user friendly. So some people will just turn it around and ask the customers to use that. It's not quite as good as a proper like McDonald's touchscreen system. Those things are pretty solid, a little slow, but they get the job done pretty well. But some people even do try to make that work as well.
And you do what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly. So we are a small business, just like yourself, and it's hard with small businesses to be cost competitive with the big players. I mean, that's why they're big. They have cost advantages, but we actually are. We were able to negotiate a good enough credit card processing rates with our various options that they are price competitive to Square, but we have better customer service. And we, of course, charge for our system, but everything net, it works out to still be, you're not paying 20% more, 50% more to use our system or anything like that. But because we're a small business, we do everything we can to help you get up and going. And we're here for support. We have a support line you can call, you can text. We try not to call me on a Saturday, but if you have to, we're here. And then we also take a lot of feedback. So when we started building this many years ago, 2017, I think was the first year we filed tax returns, something like that. We spent so much time in food trucks with people we knew, and we got lots of direct feedback like that. But even now, we get lots of feedback from our current users. We have a Facebook group that people join that, hey, could you add this? Could you modify this report? What features are you working on? Could you do this, that, or another thing? And so we make a lot of changes. And some things are simple, and we like to get them out right away. Like, you don't see it here, but at one point in time, people asked for this cross through, and we're able to do it very quickly. Or these modifiers, they're the same color here. But people asked, can they color code them themselves? Because usually the modifiers mean something, meats, they make a color, and then different toppings, they make a color. We're able to crank that out pretty quickly, and it's something we didn't think about. And we take that feedback and we run with it whenever we can. Can't do everything. We know that you guys have insights we never would, and then we have some insights you guys wouldn't because we can aggregate and see things in mass.
Yeah.
And it's the synergy of both of those that keep us building towards a better and better product.
I think what I really like about Easy Eats is how nimble it is. The one thing you talked about on the color coding, that's something Melissa asked me, and then when we were in Houston last year with you,
Yeah.
talked about that, and you guys were within just seconds like, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
It's like that's amazing to be able to talk to the person that's actually going to be touching and fixing the problem. That's it was
Exactly.
amazing, and it
And,
made a big deal. What we had done with it, just so that people can understand, like right now, you said it's gray and gray, so you have beef and extra cheese. Something like extra cheese, we would have made a completely different color to really grab us on this has more cheese than it should.
mhm.
Yeah, and we did things like anything that was a no, we made in the red color. So no means to leave it off. So it just helps you to move
Yeah.
through that order quick.
We have a lot more features. I mean, our system has integrated inventory tracking, both at for event level, and we just recently added global, so you can kind of track it from event to event. That pairs with the online ordering. But basically, if you set your inventory for today and you burn through all of it, it'll auto disable that item online without you having to do anything, and it will also warn your cashier. Cashier can override it, at the truck and actually still
Right.
push it through if your count was off or whatever, but online will auto disable. And it's smart because you build it, you can build the relationship. So if you're doing it by burger patty, and then you have three different burgers, and one of those burgers has two, you're entering in number of burger patties. I have 248, whatever. And then the relationship, well, one has one and one has two, and the other one has one. It counts them, keeps them all together, and then we'll handle that all the way through and then disable all three once you burn through all your hamburger patties.
Yeah,
So
and that's an important feature as well. Because I would imagine you could do it for anything you could create a recipe for. It's like pounds of fries, for instance. It should be able
yeah,
to let you know you're running out or soon to run out of fries.
yep. You can set it by quantity or like ounces or order size, various things like that. Yeah, correct.
Good. That's what we need.
Yeah, exactly. The less you have to consciously think about when you're on the food truck is a huge advantage. Again, the summary thing here was a big deal because it enables you to not have to, in your head, try to keep aggregating the
Right.
tickets as they fly by. Or, the on deck where it's like, well, what are they doing? What are they doing? I want that too. I got two chicken wing orders going down. Should I do a third one?
Right.
All of
And
that
plus,
is
you wouldn't be able to see them all anyway, so you had to scroll and all that.
yeah.
It's a great feature.
Yeah, of course, we have lots of reports. We have all the reports you need to do your taxes, to see daily summaries, to pay out tips, fees, discounts, coupons. We talked about that. Coupons, discounts. We have some basic integrations. You can grab some code and throw it on your website. Again, our system, you don't need a website for because you have your own web page, but a lot of people still want their own web page for branding, etc.
Right.
So you can have that, have a couple of integrations in there. It'll pull through your events. When you set up events, it will show those. And of course, our system shows your upcoming events too. Inventory tracking, we talked about that. KDS stations, we talked about that. Some, logos, payment banking, sales tax calcs, a bunch of other stuff, social networks, et
It's a
cetera.
complete system. I mean, it will do what a food truck needs.
Correct.
And
Correct. But we don't have too many extra modules that we're not, charging you for table seating
right,
arrangements or things like that. That just bumps up the price, and that's why Clover or those guys can be quite pricey, and we're not. We're not free, but we're
right.
market appropriate. So
Yeah, exactly. You are market appropriate. You're affordable. I think what you have to offer is better than most others because again, it's focused on food trucks
yeah,
and it's focused on being nimble. I've seen times where people have suggested something and within less than a day, you all have made it happen.
yeah. It can't do that all the time, but yeah, we try to anywhere
Right.
and any way we can, because some things are simple. I mean, it's from a programming standpoint very simple to do. Sometimes people will think something's simple, and it's like, dude, we'd have to refactor the entire system to make that happen.
Right.
That's like a 6 month project. Is not going to happen. But most things are, well, we just got to change a little web code or some relatively minor thing, and yeah, we can get that in there. So
It's a great system. I think everybody should get it, or at least certainly try it out.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely. Do the demo. Like you have nothing to lose. I'm not going to harass you. You're not signing up for anything.
yep.
Give it a try, play with it, and see if it makes sense. Don't just default to Square because everybody has Square, and you can reasonably trust them, etc. But give us a try. If it doesn't make sense, hey, thank you for trying. I mean, thank you for taking a look. It's hard being the small business guy when you don't have $1 billion to spend on marketing every year. So, you know, we appreciate it.
1 point square was little too.
True.
So just to review real quick, somebody wants to set up, they can go do a demo account.
Yep. Yep.
If they love the demo account, then essentially what they've set up becomes their live account.
Correct. Correct.
What
So
would be the least amount of equipment they would need to be functional after they signed up and made it official with you?
least amount would be credit card reader, and that depends on which credit card processor you go with. Cheapest one's going to be like $50. Mid-range be like 110, 120, something like that. And then the fancy ones, like think like a Clover Mini, I mean the whole big thing. Um, our partners rent those out for about $25 a month. And that is actually, I'm not normally a big fan of renting. In this case, I am, because credit card, all hardware gets broken eventually. You're in a food truck that moves, hot oil, all that stuff. Eventually, a customer drops something, an employee, you just forget to put it away when you're driving your truck. So when you rent the credit card reader, if you break it, they replace it.
Yeah.
The rest of our equipment, like the tablets, etc., well, they're cheap tablets, not cheap, but inexpensive tablets that you buy at Amazon or Walmart or Target, and you can replace them relatively simple. So lowest cost, if you have two tablets you could reuse for the point of sale in KDS, $50 for the credit card reader. High end, you go to our website, you look at all our recommendations. We don't sell any hardware, but we recommend a few things if you want like the best experience.
Right.
Highest end, it's going to be $700.
For us, we have, I got to think about it for a second. We have three technically KDS, and we have a small one that we use for the POS.
Yeah.
And one of the KDS I can flip back and forth if I need to. Because there'll be times when I forget to put the POS on its charger and I'll go to take that first order. It's like, oh crap, this isn't
Yeah.
charging, but I do have a KDS set up for my drinks. I'll just pull it off and use it. So from the guest standpoint, they don't know that Bill was dumb and forgot to charge something.
Yeah, exactly. The flexibility and interoperability there is
Yeah.
definitely more unique, and we're glad to have it. Sometimes makes our lives a little more complicated, but it's very good for the merchant for
It
you
is
guys.
the end user. And
Yeah.
that's one you really got to care about because we got to love it. Otherwise, we'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah,
And I do love it. We use it every day and always looking at ways to make it better for us as far as how we program things, the modifiers and all that.
yep, yep, yep. No, we appreciate it.
Well, we definitely do. And you and I talk fairly frequently. So,
Correct, correct. Yeah, Bill's been great to give us lots of feedback over the years, and it's been wonderful. He's given us so much feedback, advice, things that like, oh yeah, we should do that, and things that we would have never even thought about or had any clue into being important. And it's been very helpful. And
yeah, I use it because it's a good system and it's easy enough for me. I don't have to worry about it. And I have dealt with, we did Panasonic at Burger King. We had to program the thing.
Mhm.
So we were writing all the code to make it work how we wanted it.
Yeah.
And then we had to go out and find a credit card processor to connect to it.
Yeah.
So
And to that point, I didn't show it the details, but creating menu items and all of that is very easy, or you could spend more time on it if you want. If
Yeah.
you forgot something and, oh shoot, I forgot to add the whatever today, you can create it by just typing a name and a dollar amount, and boom, it'll pop up.
Yeah.
But then you can, of course, drill into it and add all the details. You can add your modifiers, you can adjust tax status, add descriptions, load pictures, set up how the inventory would tie to all of that. But it makes it very easy, and it's very easy to turn things on and off. You can have one menu for lunch and one menu for dinner, and all it takes is push the toggle button and it swaps it around. And even events, you have an event a week from now, That event can have a specific web link with a specific menu tied to it so that it doesn't interrupt what you're doing right now. But when the people are clicking on that one, or that set of customers is clicking on that link to order for their event, they're only seeing their items, etc.
Yeah, again, I think it's certainly a worthwhile system. Everybody should at least check it out. Should benefit most everybody. Even a hot dog cart, I think, would do well with this, as long as they have the internet connection that they need.
Correct, correct.
Yeah, but it's good. I like it a lot. All right, I appreciate your time.
Cool.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
sounds good. Appreciate
All
it,
right,
Bill.
not a problem. Thank you guys so much for listening today. I hope you got some good information about Easy Eats, and we'll give them a try. Again, thank you so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing. If you love what we do, show some support. There's a link in the description to make that happen. Until next time, you guys have a profitable day.